A typical day for me is fairly hard to define. I don't really have a typical day. It's the old adage, no plan survives first contact with the enemy. So yeah, the plan will kind of normally get done by 9:30, get everything scheduled out, and then by 10 o'clock it's usually thrown out the window. Probably started off in IT probably about the age of 6 when my father brought home a ZX81, and then proceeded on to through various other systems, Sinclair QLs, Commodore 64s, kind of growing up until we got to our first PC. I think I remember pestering my father that we definitely needed a sound card and a CD-ROM drive, and he finally relented. So, and then from there it was just upgrading that, adding bits to it as it went until I decided that was the kind of the course I wanted to go down to. I think I'm always satisfied if we can kind of drill down into a problem, find out what the root cause is and fix it. I think that's the same for any IT engineer. I think it's all about I think for me it's all about the puzzle, and solving the puzzle. Be that a problem that's a hardware problem that needs fixing, or an operating system that needs tweaking, or if it's just a problem that a customer needs something new, and then the fix is to recommend what that should be. I think that's where the satisfaction comes from. It's fixing those problems. So I tend to deal with third line support, which means the complicated server questions that crop up. So I'll act as an escalation point from the rest of the technical support team. So they'll tend to deal with first contact with the clients when problems come in. They'll triage them, deal with them if they can, and if anything's a bit too out of the ordinary or complicated, they'll tend to get escalated up to me to take a look at, where I can either take it on myself or give the other engineers some feedback and advice on how they could proceed with it. I started at Blue Frontier about 10 years ago. I think I was employee ID number 11 at that point. So we were crammed into 3 small rooms in a kind of shared office space. So it was a very close, tight-knit team. Everybody knew everybody. And I think now we've grown, in the last 10 years, we're up to 60 employees now. So there's been a huge explosion in growth in the different sectors that we cover. So I think the biggest challenge has been just getting to know everybody. I think there's just so many different people you can bump into doing different things. And that's reflected in the IT support role. And our client base is expanding. We've got a number of clients that have now 50 plus people that we're supporting. We're dealing a lot more with the web support side of things, so people calling in with problems with their websites, that we've got to field those calls. And that's something that we never used to have to do. So it's been a bit of a learning curve. It's taking on a lot more responsibility. So it's definitely a positive change. I think the worst thing that any company can do is just kind of sit back on their laurels and just keep doing the same thing over and over again. So I think that's the exciting thing about Blue Frontier, is we're not afraid to kind of push the boundaries and push into new areas and new opportunities.